Everyone, and welcome to Autism Act's very first Tutorial Tuesday. Now, I wasn't really quite sure where to start, if I'm honest, and I had lots of topics floating around in my head, which I was trying to make a sense of which order they should go in. And really, there only ever is one place to start, and that has to be at the very beginning. So today's tutorial is going to be, what is autism? At Autism Act, I am a real believer in setting a solid foundation for your understanding, because actually any tutorials or any consultancy or training that you listen to or take part in after that makes a lot more sense, and you're starting to embed what you know, and you're able to build other concepts on top of that. So think of that a little bit like the foundations of a house. Actually, the better the foundations, the more solid the foundations, the taller the building can be and the longer it's going to last. So think of your knowledge a little bit in the same way. If we set that solid baseline, then you can move from autism awareness to understanding and acceptance, and actually embed any future concepts that are going to come. So what is autism? Autism is a neurological condition, and it affects the way that somebody communicates and how they relate to and perceive the world around them. It's known as a spectrum condition, and this means that it encompasses many different profiles. And we have to understand that whatever somebody's profile is within autism, actually they're a person first, and they're going to have their own personality, their own culture and family that they grow up in, and their own ways of doing things as a result of that. However, the spectrum means that somebody can have autism and can also have a coexisting condition. So they may have autism and ADHD, they may have autism and a learning disability, they may have autism and dyspraxia, and all of those things come under this autism spectrum. According to the National Autistic Society, there are currently 1 in 100 people in the UK with a diagnosis of autism. Now, we must bear in mind that those statistics are a few years old. They're the latest published ones, but they are a few years old. And they don't include anybody on a pathway to being diagnosed, or anybody who feels they may be autistic but hasn't sought a diagnosis. And I think any figures that would be published within the near future would probably show a very different ratio. In order to be diagnosed autistic, you have to meet the 2 strands of diagnostic criteria, and these can be found in the DSM-5, which is a diagnostic manual, a medical manual, and it will show you those 2 strands in there. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to use the Autism Education Trust's 4 key areas of difference, because I feel that that's quite an easy concept to understand. And as I was a registered trainer for them in my previous role, it means that I think that that's a really good way to set out that solid foundation of knowledge that I want you to have. So the Autism Education Trust breaks the 2 strands of diagnosis down into 4 key areas of difference, and they are social understanding and interaction, communication, information processing, and sensory processing. And although everybody is very different within the autism spectrum, actually they will have a difference in those 4 key areas. And that's where we can start to use that knowledge to build a profile of what autism is like for an individual person. So let's just recap on what we've already spoken about today. Autism is a neurological condition that affects the way that somebody communicates and relates to and perceives the world around them. Approximately 1 in 100 people in the UK have a diagnosis of autism. There are 2 strands to the diagnostic criteria, which the Autism Education Trust breaks down into 4 key areas of difference. Everybody within autism will have their own unique profile, and we must always remember that everybody is always a person first, and this is neurodiversity. We're all neurodiverse, and thank goodness that we are. Well, I hope you've learned something today from that very first tutorial, and on Saturday I'll be back again with a little strategy, a simple strategy that will help you start to build that knowledge of an individual person. So see you Saturday, stay safe everybody, and thanks for watching.